The Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 4. The Yoga of Knowledgeable Renunciation of Action. Krishna said, I proclaimed this imperishable yoga to Vivaswat, who communicated it to Manu, who imparted it to Ikshvaku. Thus transmitted by succession, the royal sages knew this truth until, after a long duration of time, it was lost to the world. This same ancient yoga is today declared by me to you, because you are my disciple and friend. This is indeed the supreme secret knowledge. Arjuna spoke. You were born after those ancient ones. How am I to understand that you declared this truth to them? Krishna replied, I have had many embodiments, and so have you. All of them I know, but yours you do not. Although I am unborn and my true self is imperishable, although I am the Lord governing influence of all creatures, yet established in my own nature, I manifest by my own power. Whenever there is a decrease of righteousness and an increase of unrighteousness, I come into manifestation, for the protection of the virtuous, for the removal of non-virtue, and to establish righteousness, dharma, I come into manifestation from age to age. One who knows in truth my divine manifestations and actions upon departing the body is not born again. That soul comes to me. Contemplating me only, resorting to me, many whose greed, fear, and anger have departed, purified by the discipline of knowledge, have awakened to my state of being. In whatever way devotees take refuge in me, I provide them grace. Devotees everywhere, of various psychological temperaments and in various ways, follow my path. Those who desire the results of their actions here on earth offer sacrifice to the gods, and quick indeed are such actions productive. The fourfold kinds of human endeavor were created by me according to the divisions of qualities and actions in the field of nature. Although I am their maker, know me to be eternally transcendent and beyond actions or change. Actions do not defile me, nor do I desire the results of actions. The devotees who truly know me is likewise not bound by actions. Knowing this, devotees in time past who aspired to liberation of consciousness performed right actions. Therefore, engage in yoga practice as they did. What is action? What is inaction? These questions confuse even wise people. I will explain to you what action is. Knowing this, you shall be liberated from all bondage caused by ignorance. One has to understand what right action is, what is wrong action, and the nature of inaction. To understand requires clear insight. That one who perceives inaction in action and action in inaction is wise. Such a one is an accomplished yogi. That devotee whose endeavors are devoid of willful desire, whose karma is consumed in the fire of knowledge, is referred to by the wise as a sage. Having abandoned all attachment to the results of actions, always soul content and independent even when performing actions, that devotee actually does nothing at all. Without compelling desire and having renounced all motives for attainment, performing actions by the body alone, that devotee makes no mistakes. That one who is content with what comes by providence, who has transcended the dualities of pleasure and displeasure, who is free from envy and remains even-minded in success or failure, even though implementing action is not in bondage. The actions of one whose attachments are removed, who is liberated, whose mind is stable in knowledge, and who performs actions as sacrifice are completely dissolved. God is the sacrifice, God is the pouring out of the offering into the fire of God. God is realized by that one who perceives God in actions. Some yogis offer sacrifices to the gods, others offer selfless sacrifice into the fire of God. Others sacrifice hearing and other senses in the fires of restraint. Still others sacrifice sound and other objects into the fires of the senses. Others sacrifice all actions of their senses and all the actions of the vital force into the fire of yoga or self-control, which is kindled by knowledge. Some likewise offer as sacrifice their material possessions, or their austerities and spiritual practices, while ascetic devotees offer their study and learning. Some yogis offer apana into prana and prana into apana to balance and neutralize the flows of vital forces. While others who have moderated their food intake offer the life breath into the life breath, all these are knowers of sacrifice, and by it their faults and the consequences of those faults have been dissolved. Those enjoyers of the nectar of sacrificial remnants realize the absolute. This world is not for one who offers no sacrifice. How then in any other world? Thus many kinds of sacrifice are available as means for realizing God. Know them all to be born of action. Thus knowing, you shall be liberated. Better than sacrifice of material possessions is the sacrifice of knowledge. All actions without exception culminate in wisdom. Know this, by humble submission, by enquiry, by selfless service, wise knowers of truth will be inclined to teach you higher knowledge. When you know it, the truth, you will not again fall into delusion. By that knowledge you will see all beings without exception in the self and in me. Even if you were the most misguided among the unrighteous, you would cross over the river of delusion by the boat of knowledge. As the kindled fire reduces wood to ashes, even so the fire of knowledge reduces all actions to ashes. Nowhere in the world is anything that purifies that is equal to God knowledge. That devotee who is perfected in yoga, in the course of time discovers that knowledge in the self. That one who has faith acquires God knowledge. Devoted to that, controlling the senses, and having wisdom, the devotee quickly attains the tranquil state. The ignorant person who does not have faith, who is of a doubting nature, perishes. For the doubting person, neither in this world nor the realms beyond, is their happiness. Actions do not bind the devotee who has renounced them by the practice of yoga, whose doubt has been banished by knowledge, and who is ever established in self-realization. Therefore, having cut away with the sword of knowledge, this doubt in your heart caused by ignorance, practice yoga. Stand up. In the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the science of the Absolute, the scripture of yoga, and the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, thus ends the 4th chapter entitled Karmabrahmarpana Yoga, the yoga of knowledgeable renunciation of action.